You're listening to Morning Edition on this Wednesday here on WCBU. I'm Rich Drager. Gas prices keep soaring in the U.S. as the war in Iran shows no end in sight. In this interview with WCBU reporter Joe Deacon, Peoria-area Republican Congressman Darin LaHood says he's ready to see the Trump administration find a way out of this war to help bring down fuel prices soon.
Well, we need to wind down the conflict. I've publicly said that. I think we need to have an off-ramp on that. That's number one. Number two, we have to open the Strait of Hormuz and get that done. I think you do that through diplomatic approach. And we got to continue to work with Iran as best we can on a solution that opens the Strait of Hormuz because we've seen way too high of energy prices, fertilizer prices, petrochemical prices. And so what I would encourage the White House and the President to do is negotiate and have an off-ramp sooner rather than later.
You say a diplomatic approach, but that doesn't seem to have worked so far. I mean, is there a way that the U.S. can effectively free up certain vessels from the Strait of Hormuz to help ease the burden right now?
Well, I think we're working through that. I think we've had some help from some of our like-minded allies in the region and in Europe on doing that. But again, I think we have decimated appropriately Iran's military capabilities. Now is the time for negotiation as best we can do that. And so I think both sides have negotiating asks, and I think we need to continue to work through that process. I'm optimistic that we can reach a resolution and, again, get this open back up and get energy prices lower. That has to be a priority.
Did this war unintentionally give Iran leverage it didn't know it had by closing off the Strait of Hormuz and putting pressure on the economy here?
I don't think so. I think when we look back in 20 years and the narrative is that we changed the trajectory of Iran, that's good for the world. It's good for America. Remember, Iran has been the leading state sponsor of terrorism for the last 45 years. Just in December alone, they killed 30,000 of their own people that were peacefully protesting. I mean, this is a terrorist regime that's run by religious mullahs and dictators. They had to be dealt with. What I appreciate now is their nuclear capability has been decimated, their ballistic missiles have been decimated, their hypersonic arsenal has been decimated, and their Navy's been decimated. That's going to be better for the world, it's going to be better for America, and it's going to be better for the Middle East. Does that complicate things in terms of getting the straits opened up and getting energy prices? Yes, of course it does. But I think it's worth that risk to keep them from engaging in state sponsor of terrorism.
Do you expect that the Trump administration will ever seek congressional approval for this war? The 60-day window has lapsed.
I think if it continue, if we are in a full troops on the ground, full-scale war, absolutely. That's the law. It should come to Congress for an up or down vote.
This war in Iran has cost $50 billion so far, according to media reports and U.S. officials. As a budget hawk, are you okay with this expense?
Well, it's a lot of money, and it's a lot of taxpayer money, particularly when we're $39 trillion in debt. But again, in the end, presidents have talked about taking out Iran for the last 45 years. No one's been able to do it. The timing of this, I think, was the right timing. Iran's never been weaker. But think about the cancer they have been in the Middle East. They have blood on their hands of U.S. soldiers supporting the Shia proxies in Iraq, supporting Assad in Syria, supporting Hezbollah in Lebanon, supporting Hamas in Gaza, supporting the Houthis in Yemen. All of that has changed now because of the U.S. That costs a lot of money. Of course that concerns me. But I think getting them off the battlefield and stopping them from engaging in terrorism will pay dividends long term.
That was Congressman Darin LaHood speaking with reporter Joe Deacon. LaHood was in Pekin to announce federal funding for a bridge project in Tazewell County. Tomorrow, LaHood explains his prospects for expanded use of ethanol in our fuel to support Central Illinois farmers and whether he supports public money going to the proposed White House ballroom. I'm Rich Drager. You're listening to Morning Edition on WCBU.